Alright, so let's talk a bit about Glide. Now, the first thing to know about Glide is that as Retrofit, RxJava and others, Glide is a third-party library, which means it's not part of Android Jetpack. But I did want to talk a bit about Glide because I kind of use this library in most, if not all, the applications that I work with. Okay, it's a really lightweight library that performs a very, very important function, and that is it does image loading and caching. Now, what does that mean? Basically, it means that you create a Glide object, you give it a URL, you give it an image view, and it will load the image for you while doing the processing and the network communication on a background thread, which is an excellent way to do image loading because it saves us as developers having to create a background thread, manage network communications, manage image loading, transformation, life cycles, and things like that. So it takes away a lot of the headache, a lot of the boilerplate code, and it manages to do that with very little configuration and very little, without us having to implement a lot of code. So it's a very, very efficient way to load images. Now, Glide also does image caching. So it's quite important to remember that because you might see sometimes you load an application, you wait a bit for images to come up, and then you kill the app and you restart it and images pop up instantly. And you wonder why it took so long in the first place. Might there be a problem with the application? Well, no, Glide has loaded the images, has stored them locally, and is loading them locally, which is a very efficient way to do image loading, okay? So those two functions are pretty much the main aspect of Glide. Now, you also have some options that come with Glide, and we will use those options later on when we use the palette library. Okay, so Glide is very useful for that as well. It's kind of a secondary purpose for Glide, but it does provide some benefit. And it also provides like image resize options to how to display the image. It provides some spinners, some loading images, some error images, and things like that. So you can have a kind of complete functionality on image loading just by using this one small library. And we will be using this library in this section to load our images. Basically, all the images that we load in our application, we will be doing that with the Glide library. So there's not too much to say about this small library. It's actually more useful to see it in action and use it in a real project rather than talk about it endlessly. So I would say let's end this kind of introductory lecture here, and let's go ahead and implement image loading in our application to understand more about how we can do that.